Oh, can't you see? We're running out of time. You gotta lose your mind if you think you're doing fine. You can't describe it yet, but something is wrong. Where are your dreams now, and why don't you feel strong? Yeah, yeah. Every day, every night you try to find yourself. Don't live your life as someone else.
Hello everyone, that's right, it's me, that H-E-A-D, back with you for another installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How we all doing? Today we're going to talk Elimination Chamber. Yes, we must talk about Elimination Chamber, yeah. And we're also going to talk about the main topic of today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. And that main topic, ladies and gents, is Hulk Hogan turning heel. Right, Hulk Hogan turning heel in 1990 after the Ultimate Warrior match in 1990 at WrestleMania 6. We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give my opinion on it. I've already been talking about it on TikTok. Games Matter on TikTok if you want to check it out. And yeah, we're going to have a little thing about it. So yeah, so I'll tell you what we'll do. You know what? Let's talk about this. Before we get to the Elimination Chamber, before we run through the Elimination Chamber and everything like that. Let's talk about this. Because this is crazy to me. And I found this exceedingly fascinating to me. There was an interview that Hogan did, and he mentioned the match he had with Warrior at WrestleMania 6. He wanted to turn heel at that point. Because he even said it himself. When Hogan hugged the Warrior, right? He hugged him. I think Warrior went for the hug and Hogan just went with it. You could see Hogan come back to that little trolley thing that they have. You could either walk down the aisle back in them days. They used it at WrestleMania 3. You could either walk down the aisle back at them days, or you can have them little trolley things that just takes you back up to the locker room, or brings you back down brings you down to the ring, depending on what you're doing. I would have just walked down to the ringside if it was me. But yeah, that's what they used back in the day. They used it at WrestleMania 3. Don't know if they used it at WrestleMania 4 or 5. And I don't think they did. And then they used it at 6 again. So WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 6 were the times that they used it. And as Hogan is walking back and going onto this platform to get carried back to the locker room, he even said it himself. He wanted to turn around, go back in the ring, and clout the Ultimate Warrior, rather. He wanted to go back in there and clout him, but Vince wouldn't allow that. Now, think about this, ladies and gentlemen, because we all know what happened, why Vince wouldn't allow it, red and yellow and everything, But think about this. Just think about this for a second. Can you imagine what that would have been like if Hogan turned heel at that point? We all know him turning heel in 96 was huge. Was massive for the industry, for him, and for WCW at that point. But for the industry and him in general, especially Hogan. Can you imagine if he did it back in WWE at that point? Can you imagine the direction that WWE would have took? I could guarantee you this right now, we wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe we would have done, but we wouldn't have got Slaughter and Hogan at WrestleMania 7 the following year. I can guarantee you that. But I think about it. It would have took a different turn. And I think WWE would have hit, or WWF at the time, would have hit a home run big time. And they would have went to a new level if Hogan was there. He even said it himself, Hogan, he would have been white hot. Hell yeah, he would have been white hot. Mr. Red and Yellow turns heel, I mean, he was white hot in WCW when he joined the NWO and all that and became the leader of the NWO. Can you imagine if he did that in 1990. I don't know if he would have called himself Hollywood Hogan. Maybe he would have done it. I don't know. But I don't know if he would have called himself Hollywood Hogan, but he would have been fucking red hot. You know? And the other question is, would they have gone with the direction they did? And when I say they, I'm talking WWE. Would they have gone with the direction they did? Because about 92, 93 time, they all went down the New Generation era, didn't they? You know, would Hogan have lasted in that New Generation era? You know, Hogan got away from WWF to begin with because of the steroid scandal. He wanted nothing to do with it. And I think he even testified against Vince in court at that point. But he just wanted to get away. You know, would they have gone with that New Generation direction if Hogan would have turned heel? I would have said yes. I mean, I would have thought they would have treated Hogan, the same way they treated Macho Man. Because we all know what happened to Macho Man. He got, you know, he thought that he could have contributed to the WWE when they went down that New Generation era, but Vince didn't want that. Vince wanted him in the broadcast booth. And you could even see it as well on that episode of Raw. You could even see it in his eyes that he was pissed. You could even see it in his eyes that he didn't want to be at ringside. You could even tell it in his tone of voice and the way he got and the way he went at McMahon that he didn't want to be there. He wanted to be in the ring. He didn't want to be at ringside with Vince, but Vince wanted him to do the color commentary, you know. But he still thought that he could contribute on a main event level, which he did because he won the WCW title on occasions, didn't he? So he stuck that up Vince's you-know-what, pretty much. But if you go back and watch the final Raw of Macho Man Randy Savage at the announce table, which is where it was Luger and Bob Backlund, and Backlund kept on attacking Luger, and then Savage came in and helped him out and saved Luger. Go back and watch that episode. You'll understand. You'll definitely understand what I'm saying. You know, it was crazy. Would they have done that to Hogan? Maybe, you know. But, you know, and come to think about it as well, would we have got the NWO Hogan if Hogan turned heel in 1990? Would Vince have kept on going with this? You know, heck, would Vince have kept Hogan around in that New Generation era if he'd have turned heel? My opinion on that, no, I don't think he would have done. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know, but I don't think he would have done. But, you know, that's an opinion for another day. But can you imagine, just imagine what the direction would have been, or the direction would have took if Hogan turned heel at WrestleMania 6? You know? It'd have been crazy. It'd have been absolutely crazy. What would he have called himself? I doubt he would have called himself Hollywood Hogan. I genuinely doubt he would have called himself Hollywood Hogan. Maybe he would have called him Thunderlips. I don't bloody know. But it would have been you know, I found it fascinating when I first saw it. I mean, him turning heel against that. You know, it would have been perfect. It was the perfect time to turn heel too, because, you know, Warrior was built in as Hogan's replacement. You know, that was Hogan passing the torch to the Warrior. So that was, but obviously the Warrior title run ended up failing, didn't it? So that's why they went back to Hogan eventually. That's why they went back to Hogan at WrestleMania 7. You know, when he beat Slaughter. You know? Just imagine that. Just imagine it. You know? It's crazy. Just think about it. I mean, it's crazy to even acknowledge it as well. Hulk Hogan turning heel at WrestleMania 6. It's crazy. And like I say, 100% the wrestling business, WWF or WWE in general, would have took a different direction. Until the point when they ended up changing to the New Generation. Because I still believe they would have went with the New Generation either way at that point. But, yeah. I mean, I was talking about this to somebody at work. 95 was the most boring year for WWE. And it was probably one of the worst years in WWE. Just my opinion. that. But yeah, it definitely would have been crazy. Definitely would have been crazy. But yeah, think about it. I mean, what's your take on that? Do you think he would have stayed in the new generation? Do you think he would have lasted as the heel in WWE if he'd have turned heel on the Warrior in WrestleMania 6? You know? Comment below here on YouTube and also on the Facebook page as well, because this is going up on both Facebook and YouTube as well. So comment on that. You know, gives you something to think about, doesn't it? And like I said, very intriguing what would have happened. Right. Elimination Chamber 2022 ended with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, champion versus champion at WrestleMania as well. It was predictable. It was blah. But it was what it was. Obviously, Ronda Rousey, Naomi defeating Women's Champion Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville. Yes. Sonya Deville has probably gone back in an arm sleeve again, even though she seemed to be cleared. Now she's gone back in that arm. Now she's got back that arm sling again because Ronda Rousey put her in that armbar. Drew McIntyre got revenge on Madcap Moss as well. Now, is he going to be hunting Brock Lesnar like he said he would? You know? Are we going to see the triple threat? Are we going to see the title versus title match at WrestleMania? Or are we going to have exactly what they did to the women's before? You know? Are they going to have what they exactly did to the women's before? Is it going to be winner takes all, triple threat match, winner takes all? Both men walk out. One man walks out with both the Universal and WWE title. Think about it. Because that's where McIntyre is going, unless they've got something else planned for him. You know? We have to wait. I'll come back to that in a second. Bianca Belair won the Raw Elimination Chamber. We knew that because she's going to be facing Becky, and Becky beat Lita. The Becky Lynch Lita match and Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, and thank God Roman Reigns won. You know, them two matches were just to get Roman and Becky to WrestleMania. That's all it was. They had nothing else for them. Let's get Goldberg in, and have this match that should have happened 2 years ago. Let's get Lita in. Lita can prove herself in this match and get herself over in any way, shape, or form, which she did, even though she lost. But yeah, it was just it was just something to get Becky and Roman to WrestleMania. That's all it was. Because they had nothing else for them. So for fuck it, we'll get them to WrestleMania in that way. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Usos and the Viking Raiders match never got off the blocks because the Viking Raiders got jumped by the Usos at the beginning of the match and ended in a no contest. Dare I say a rematch at WrestleMania? We'll see. And also Rey Mysterio wins by the help of Dominic against The Miz, and now that's setting up a tag team match for WrestleMania between The Miz and his partner taking on Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Now, I'll believe the partner when I see it because apparently the partner that's coming in for The Miz is Logan Paul. So, I'll believe it when I see it. But it seems that it's pretty much dead on for Logan Paul. So, whatever on that one. So, yeah, that's the match as well. And like I say, where is Drew McIntyre going? Is he going to go to is it going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania? Will it be champion for champion at WrestleMania? I still think it should be champion for champion. But if Drew McIntyre gets involved, you know, winner takes all match like they did with the women's before, why not? Why not? It should have that champion versus champion feel though. Both belts on the line, winner takes all. You know, that's what it should. That's the way it should be. Because obviously McIntyre is not taken too kindly to finishing runner-up at the Rumble. Even though the Royal Rumble was slated to have Riddle or Randy Orton win, if you believe the dirt sheets from what I read. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that one. But yeah, pretty average. And yes, Bobby Lashley apparently has got a legit injury. He might be out for a while. So that's why they eventually end up going back to Lesnar again. And like I said, it had to have been. It had to have happened. Him going, you know, Lesnar winning the title again. It had to have happened because we all want the champion versus champion match. So why not have it? You know, Let's see. WWE Champion Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. Let's find out, see who's the real best. Is this going to be the greatest match at WrestleMania's card? No, probably not. But this is the only match that could happen now between these two. If it just happened to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, even though it's a babyface Brock Lesnar and a heel Roman, yeah, you know, that's what it would have been. It had to have something like this on it. Because we've had 2 matches previous, and both of them have sucked. Sorry. Both of them have been bang average. Hopefully now with this one. And like I say, I like this. I like the way this storyline and this angle has gone, because we've got a babyface Brock Lesnar and a heel Roman, not a babyface Roman and a heel Brock Lesnar. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. But like I say, Raw is as of this tonight, so we'll see what happens. And also as well, I was watching No Surrender over the weekend. Impact Wrestling No Surrender. Jay White seems to have recruited the Good Brothers back into the Bullet Club again, because he turned on Tama Tonga and God. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next. Hopefully we'll be able to see this on Impact this week, but I want to know what the hell's going on. But it seems that the Good Brothers are back in the Bullet Club again. So, yeah. Kicked out God. Bring back in the original people, the original guys that have in there. So, like I say, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I was a bit surprised by that, to be honest. But Switchblade Jay White's all over the place. He beat Jay Lethal in the open challenge that he's been doing. He kicks God. He wins his debut match on AEW. Jay White's doing big things, man. He really is. And he also won his match against Eric Young at the No Surrender show as well. Jay White's doing big things, man. He really is. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I will be back next week, hopefully with a update on the direction of this podcast, what's coming up in the process, and what I plan for this down the road, and hopefully another topic as well. We'll see what happens. But yes, thank you all for tuning in. Like on Facebook and share it with your friends. Like, share, subscribe here on the Wrestling Matters YouTube channel as well, because there'll be more next week as well. So until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Peace out, y'all. Wrestling matters, and it should matter to you. Peace.
Oh, can't you see we are where I